Hello, everyone. How are you? I missed y'all. It's been so long. Oh my God. Well, not that long, just skipped last week, but it's been a lot going on. So, welcome to another episode of Tea Time with Brian. Coming to you live with some new hair. You see it. A new tan. I look a little bit more tan. Was in Dominican Republic. So I was able to enjoy, kind of get away a little bit. But I'm back to report to y'all what's going on. They're all eyes are in Georgia. I don't know if I sound the microphone was right here. Look, I'm still a little bit, but I think that's just, for everybody can relate. We want to make sure that you take some time to, not burn out, to make sure that but to get back to it because we are going into round two for Georgia. More on that in a second. But yes, all eyes will be on Georgia now as there will be a runoff election for the two Senate seats. So that is, historic in many ways. But let's dive in. So welcome to another Tea Time with Brian. And today I'm drinking some green tea with some honey. Nice little tea that I always, you can never go wrong with some green tea. So cheers to that. Salud. So let's dive into the topics. Today, the voters have decided. I'm just going to try to give you the facts and the reality. Georgia has gone blue since 1992. That hasn't happened since then, at least for Biden, specifically for the president. Georgia voters have decided. It has been historic. It took a while. It was like, I want to say Saturday that it was decided, definitely edged out, the current president. So President-elect Biden now flipped the state. So that was historic in itself. And from what we know, more Americans have voted for Joe Biden than any candidate in U.S. history. So that in itself, we got to clap to, our audience, the people out there, regardless of how you identify with, there's just this has been historic. I always say that, democracy comes down as to who actually the amount of people that actually show up. So the fact that there has been historic numbers because of the pandemic and, being available to, the absentee ballots, that actually was what decided a lot of different counties. So, there would be the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would be the next vice president and vice president of the United States. And I will tell you, it was young people. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Young people and young people of color, specifically Black and Latinx women that were the ones that made history. They showed out in large numbers. They would have been the organizers of our communities. So props to them. You guys are superstars. Don't let them tell you don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Young people, Black women and Latinx women have been the superstars, have always been. They've been the backbone, Black women of the Democratic Party. So thank y'all to y'all for showing out and making sure that the young voices are heard. The organizers, that they took to the streets and they showed out, so that we have to do that for January 5th, y'all. This is not this was just the first fight. There's pretty much going to go now. There's going to be the eyes of the country is going to be in Georgia, but I will tell you more a little later on about that. But yes, it's pretty much going to decide who holds the Senate. So let's go to the next point that I have. And I will say that props, not only to to us, give ourselves a little all props, but also to the whole table that that has on our C3 side, of course, as our sister organization, Georgia Shift Action. All of them have been turning out voters throughout the state. We've seen historic numbers, not only in outside of the metro Atlanta area, but all around the state. That has been amazing. So we're very excited to see the amount of people that have shown out. And yeah, I've told you multiple times that all politics is local, and youth organizers put in the work to ensure that the record-breaking turnout resulted in many wins in the local level. So we just want to give you some a little shout out, or highlight specifically some of them that we have been watching, and that one of them has been the local Augusta Judicial Circuit race, which, if you don't know, the Augusta Judicial Circuit is Burke, Columbia, and Richmond County. That Jerry Williams actually bested Republican incumbent Natalie Payne last Tuesday with 88,000 votes to Payne's 86,000. So that was historic in many ways, but out the two main reasons why it's so historic is because outside of Metro Atlanta, only the Albany Judicial Circuit has a Black district attorney. So this win will historic, as Jared will be the first African American to hold that position, as well as the first Democratic DA in almost 20 years. So that in itself was definitely historic. We are happy to hear, that this DA, he said that he would focus, his tenure as DA by putting focus on the kids, and he has quoted to. He has said that he wants to make sure that we keep our kids in classroom, not in courtrooms. He wants to make sure that young people find job sites so they don't end up in and out of jail cells. So we're very happy to hear that, we always champion that, recidivism. We definitely one thing that seems like he wants to keep on top of his, agenda. I will tell you also with Georgia specifically that, even though that the Georgia Democrats celebrated President-elect Joe Biden's win and a few other successful election battles last week, I will tell you that they had hoped to edge out the Georgia Republicans for the political control of the Georgia's legislature. But unfortunately, that was not the case, or that was just not the case. And pretty much that means that the Georgia House would be kept by the Republicans, and there would be less, specifically because there are going to be a lot of drawing of the congressional district lines, as well as just all the location as to where they would go, and that would affect the elections for for at least the next decade. So that would definitely was something that we wanted to report to y'all. I would tell you that one of the reasons why we have continued seeing a lot of focus in Georgia is because, and throughout certain other battleground states like Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, is because of the fact that there has been some recounts, and go ahead and recount. We want to make sure that there's a fair elections, but unfortunately, we have seen a lot of baseless reporting saying that there has been illegal cast of ballots, and that's just simply not true. Those are baseless assertions made. So we want to make sure that we say that up front. And just the way that I see it is like, we everybody votes in the same ticket. So if we accept the results of all the tickets down the ballot, why are we not accepting the decision of the voters for the top ticket, top of the ticket? So the way I see them, like, make that make sense. It doesn't make sense, but we welcome the counts. Actually, the Georgia Secretary of State actually said that they would actually hand count the ballots. This happened just today. So I'm giving you a little insight, breaking news. But definitely we want to make sure that everybody that voted is counted, and not to disenfranchise voters. We want to ensure that does not happen. And absentee voting, like we told you multiple times, is not illegal voting. There has been happening since the Civil War in the 1800s. So this has been something that has happened for generations. So this is just historic because of the amount of people that actually use absentee voting. So we definitely want to continue seeing that. So now let's go on into what I keep referring to and kind of jumping around, just because I want to have a little, sense or a little section of it to give you more of the tea, or, what is going on. The U.S. Senate, control of the U.S. Senate will depend on pretty much the two runoff races in Georgia. This has been historic because Georgia has been traditionally very, very red. But it won't be known until early January. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of massive spending. To my people, you will get a lot of more text messages, a lot of more emails, but we got this. We just want to make sure that people are showing up, turning out. This is very important. And just to give you specifically how it happened, for the two runoff races, one runoff will be between Senator Kelly Loeffler and her challenger, Democrat Raphael Warnock. And also, which was, those neither of them got 50%, which is necessary. And the same happened with incumbent Senator David Perdue, as well as, Democratic challenger John Ossoff. That was actually also the one that they did not receive the 50+1 necessary in order to win. So those two would be decided January 5th. I will give you the dates in a second, but those are definitely the ones that we would tell you more about as the coming weeks, because it's very important. Currently, if everything, there's currently a deadlock for the U.S. Senate control, 48-48. And even though that's some races still called, that's pretty much what the Associated Press is saying, that is where they're at, because Alaska and North Carolina are considered to be still held by Republicans. So pretty much Georgia would be the ultimate decider of who holds the Senate. So that's why it's so important. But, even though, like I told you, there has been some, legal challenges with no proof of, there has been, some illegal voting, which, like I told you, we're betting that's not true. We can say that with certainty that Georgia flipped blue since 1992 and voted for President-elect Biden. And that means that, that's just the tea that Georgia is officially purple. We will be a battleground state for years to come. And yeah, we're just swing state, and expect to be treated like a swing state now. So it's exciting for people like me, political nerds that have worked hard. This has been a work for the last 8 years. A lot of different organizations that want to make sure that voters of color, because yes, there's a lot of focus in Atlanta and Metro Atlanta counties, which shout out to Clayton County, Fayette County, and Henry County, that we're very, very close, but we cannot fail to forget that many counties, like the ones in Augusta, Richmond, Burke, as well as many ones close to the coast in Chan County, those have a lot of traditionally, pretty much people that have not been turning out, and they turned out this election. So we're very happy to see, especially young voters of colors shown out in record numbers. Specifically, we got some numbers back already, specifically for early voting. It had actually grew by 50%. And that sounds, it went pretty much from 38,000 in 2018 to 50,000 plus votes for early voting. So that was crazy. I can probably tell you specifically the numbers next week, but yeah, we're just happy to see the sheer amount of people actually showing out to vote. So props to that. So yeah, now let's go on into our little section that I love to call, that I call the Rona updates. Y'all, this is it's just, the virus continues growing. The virus is just, going to continue being here if we don't handle it. I can tell you that specifically with Richmond County, the schools have been under quarantine and pretty much in-person learning has been on hold for a couple of weeks because a lot of the staff and students either tested positive or were exposed to someone who was infected. And we are sad to hear with the amount of, not just throughout the nation, the cases have continued growing, the new infections, but also the White House says that Georgia is back in the virus danger zone. And pretty much we are at that most severe risk category for spread of the coronavirus for the first time in a couple of months, because we actually were lucky that we had controlled it. But please, y'all, like, let's make sure we're still wearing masks. We're still social distance if we can. I know it's getting colder, so make sure that you are being careful, even at home. So make sure that we are taking it just as serious as when it began, because now we are seeing it that even worse than when it began. So yeah, be mindful with the holiday gatherings. I know that we want some relief from all this inside that we have been staying, just stuck at home. If we've been working from home and we want some good jolly time, but let's make sure we're mindful, because we don't want to turn those jolly times into sad times. So let's make sure we are being still careful and making sure that we are being responsible with this, once in a lifetime virus. So we want to make sure that our team sippers and just everybody in Georgia stay safe. So now, let's go into finalize, just tell you specifically about the runoff election. We want to make sure that the runoff election there's always been a huge drop in numbers when it comes to the runoff elections that has happened. That's been kind of just the trend that we have seen throughout the years, that normally if there's a runoff elections, there's a drop in the amount of people that show out. We cannot do that. Georgia, we're going to show that we are going to continue making history, and we're going to make sure that we turn out in record numbers again. So that is why it is very important that you are making sure that you show out. If you want to, you can already start asking for your absentee ballot at Ballotpedia. That don't call me on it. You'll have the link at the end of the live stream in a comment below. But you can already start requesting your absentee ballot. And the earliest day where you can mail your absentee ballot is November 18th, which would be next week. So those are coming out very, very fast. But the Georgia has never seen a runoff like this one. So I'm hoping that because of that, we are going to, see a lot of, just turnout by not just people from one side, but from both sides of the spectrum, and specifically young voters of color could once again be the deciders of this election if we show out to vote. So you're going to see, more than likely, you're going to see a lot of big names coming to Georgia. So look out for, an event near you. So that's definitely going to be very, very, very interesting, as Georgia will be the center of the political universe, at least till January 5th. For sure. Some other dates that I want you to be mindful. December 7th is the voter registration deadline to vote in the federal election. I can tell you that my mother and my little brother would also be first-time voters, because my mom recently became a citizen. So props to her. And my brother will be 18 by the time January 5th comes around. So we would make it a family activity. I keep telling you to make it a family activity, and I'm doing the same. We're all going to go vote in our local library, or, wherever they decide to host the election. We're actually going to go early voting. And that brings me to the next point. December 14th is when in-person or early voting begins for the runoff for January 5th. And of course, January 5th is the election date. So go, I always tell you to go vote early, because similarly, like it was with this past election, I voted early and I was in and out 10 minutes. Me and my sister voted in less than 10 minutes. So I want the same easing in and out process for you, to make sure that our votes are being counted, make it a family activity. I'm super excited for them to vote and experience it for the first time, my mother and my little brother. So just excited for that. My sister, which is normally not a person that's super in tune with politics, was like sending me updates. So I was just kind of like, what? So it's just exciting to see the, people other than, the people like you and I that might have been always paying attention, actually paying attention to this extent. So we want to make sure we repeat that for January 5th. So now, like I keep telling you, all voting is local. It is imperative that you know who represents you locally and voice your concerns. These two senators are going to be the one that decide a lot of the things that happens in Georgia. So we want to make sure that we keep close attention, because they could be the deciding votes. That's how it looks like Georgia might be the one that decides that. So, the call to action for this live stream is for you to check for those people that you are in your circle didn't register to vote early enough. Make sure you do turn out to vote this time. We're going to put the registration link at the end of this live stream in a comment below. So make sure you check out all the links I will post. Not only am I going to post that registration link, I will post where you can request your absentee ballot, because it is imperative we show out, we turn out. And yeah, it's just exciting to see. Please make sure you tell me also below, how was your voting experience? If you did go vote on November 3rd, tell me about it. I was a little bit unplugged from everything in Dominican Republic, so wanted to take a little break to make sure that we are not, we're just not burning out, because that is another thing. For my organizers, please make sure you take some time. I know that this is really exciting time, but make sure you take some time for yourself, self-care, not just for my organizer, but my T-sippers. Make sure you take time, but we're gonna hit the ground running, and we're very excited to continue bringing you the news. And that is another Tea Time with Brian. Thank you for joining me again. This is very exciting, just we're seeing people from around the country turning out and showing out. So if you want to continue, we are, every social media, so Georgia Shift, as well as georgiashift.org. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.